First, we have to assume that migration is not a panacea, which will automatically solve demographic or labor imbalances. It's not a miracle solution, and it's not a threat, which will jeopardize national security and border control. It's an opportunity that cannot be left alone, but must be properly managed. Mobility of human beings has historically been an aspect of human nature, and nowadays, unlike in the past, is not an expectation, but is the rule. In our globalized world, mobility is a fact. It's not an opinion. Goods, ideas, talent, capital, they are moving. So do people, for different reasons. Today, more than 250 million people live in countries that they are not. They are native countries. Well, they are 3.5% of the world population. And they generate 9% of the global GDP. Denying these facts means to put a blind eye on reality and to criminalize mobility to just going against the sign of the time. Second, we have to assume that migration, like it or not, is not a fact linked to a juncture, but a structural phenomenon. Sometimes there is something like the war in Syria that creates a push and a peak, a conjuncture. We must cope with the specific features of contemporary migration, which differs notably from previous migration experiences. Third, migration is a complex and multidimensional reality. It means that all concerns about migration are linked with demography, development, economic, security, integration, should be taken into consideration with a spirit of real partnership. Four, we have to assume that no country or region can face the migratory challenges alone. And therefore, international, regional, and bilateral cooperation is absolutely indispensable. In short, we need a common approach to a common challenge. Not any kind of migratory management is acceptable. Even if every state is sovereign to decide its migration policy and has the right to manage their own borders and provide security to its own citizens, these activities must be carried in full respect of international law, human rights law, and human dignity. We Europeans, we are in a certain paradox. Objectively, Europe needs migrants in order to address demographic decline, labor shortages in some countries, sustainability of pensions, and even territorial depopulation. Depopulation is a new threat for the European geography. For sure, Europe cannot accommodate the new 1 billion young Africans that are expected to join the population in the next 30 years. We have to create an ordered migration, providing opportunities in Africa and legal path for economic migration. And this idea of 100,000 Erasmus grants for African students, I think is something important, because they need human capital. But on refugees, we just have to comply with international law. The EU must federalize asylum policies. It is not acceptable that some member states reject systematically almost all applications of asylum, where others accept 90% of the demands. In equal terms, the relocation system must be made permanent. And probably we have to think to allowing applications to be made at the country of origin to avoid the dangerous trips through the Sahara Mediterranean.